Chapter 1. The cruise ship suddenly malfunctioned, causing a loud crashing sound as the vessel shook violently. I immediately woke up, realizing I had been reborn. Waves crashed onto the deck, making it impossible to stand steadily. I fumbled for a life ring, only to find that all of them had been slashed open. How could this be? Then on the other side of the deck I heard Lily's voice. "Mia, I'm so scared. Come help me." Instinctively, I looked up and saw Alex stumbling towards her along the railing, tenderly holding her in his arms. The two clung to each other tightly, while the ship's hull began to crack, threatening to break apart at any moment. Following his memory, Alex quickly inflated a lifeboat, intending to take Lily aboard. But my best friend Ella blocked him. "Alex, how can you leave Mia here at a time like this? She's been pregnant for 2 months." I thought hearing this would make Alex hesitate, but instead, he frowned immediately. "Nonsense, how could I not know she's pregnant? You're just jealous of Lily and don't want her to leave. Without her, would you even be on this cruise enjoying the sea?" He looked at me with disgust, pulling Lily onto the lifeboat. "As for her, I'll come back for her." In my previous life, he said the same thing, but with the stormy sea, it took 3 hours drifting aimlessly before returning to shore. By the time he came back with a rescue team, Lily had already lost her strength. I would never believe him again. Ella watched them sit in the lifeboat, cursing under her breath before rushing to my side. We crouched by the deck's edge, clinging to the ropes, slowly moving towards the highest point. But with the rain and waves, a huge wave swept us into the sea. We clung to each other's hands, fearing the waves would separate us. The cruise ship disintegrated, and we barely found 2 large floating pieces of wood to cling to. Alex must be crazy, insisting on a sea trip in this weather with such low visibility. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't be in this mess. Ella was right, but she didn't know this sea trip was Lily's idea. Her family had an old cruise ship, and Alex had taken some courses on sailing. He decided, under the pretense of not wanting me to be jealous, to take us on a sea trip. If he hadn't been so focused on flirting with Lily, this wouldn't have happened. The freezing seawater soaked my feet, sending a sharp bone-chilling pain through my abdomen. I had been married to Alex for 2 years and planned to tell him about my pregnancy that evening. Unexpectedly, I might lose the baby. "Mia, are you okay? You have to hold on. Someone will come to rescue us," Ella said, gripping my hand tightly, trying to paddle closer. Even the buoyancy of the water couldn't stop her determination. Yes, someone would rescue us. In my previous life, Alex and I drifted aimlessly on the sea until a returning sightseeing boat rescued us. It would be the same this time. I looked at Ella, my voice firm. "Quick, listen to me, turn on the flashlight." Chapter 2. We both took out our phones and turned the flashlight to its maximum brightness. We encouraged each other, determined not to fall asleep. Falling asleep could mean never waking up again. In my previous life, after Lily's death, Alex fell into depression for 2 months before suddenly recovering and treating me well. I thought he had moved on until our child was born. The day our child was born, he threw the baby into the water in front of me, drowning him alive. "Blame your mother for being deceitful, not me for being ruthless." Then he dragged my weakened body into the pool to drown me as well. I struggled and begged, but all I got was Alex's cold response. "The pain Lily endured in the sea was 1,000 times worse than yours. How dare you live a good life here? How dare you bear my child?" I would never forget that agony. The powerful resolve for revenge and hatred kept me going, constantly encouraging Ella with words. We waved the flashlight continually. Finally, we heard the horn of a ship. We were saved. The captain and passengers, hearing our story, were full of sympathy and anger. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my abdomen. They sped up, determined to get me to the hospital. Within 30 minutes, we were ashore. Alex and Lily were drying their clothes, smirking when they saw me. "You made it back yourself, so what's with the act? If we had listened to you, Lily would be in real danger." The captain urged him to take me to the hospital, as I had already lost a lot of blood on the ship. Though the bleeding had stopped, the damage to my body was significant. "Enough, Mia, stop pretending. What's the point? Lily caught a cold. She has a performance tomorrow. You're being unreasonable." He stared at me, his eyes cold and detached. I felt like I was sinking into the sea, my heart turning cold. The man I shared a bed with looked at me as if I were trash. The pain in my abdomen was unbearable, making me shake and unable to stand. Lily glanced at me, pitifully tugging Alex's sleeve, saying, "I know everyone dislikes me. It's okay. Why don't you take care of Mia? Even though I have a cold, I can manage." She was pretending to be weak, putting all the blame on me. Alex glared at me, his voice cold and indifferent. "Stop pretending. It's just seawater. Is it that bad? I know you. You always exaggerate things to get my attention." In my previous life, he said the same thing in the hospital. I thought I had misheard and didn't press further. But time had already given me the answer. I looked at him coldly, as if seeing a stranger. "She hasn't even touched the seawater and claims to feel unwell. Why don't you question her? I'm your wife. You abandoned your wife and took your childhood sweetheart. You're a real man." I took a deep breath and finally said what I felt. "Alex, let's get a divorce. I don't want you anymore." He looked at me, stunned, his face showing a trace of anger. "Stop being unreasonable. Haven't you had enough of these tricks? Is it because I let her on the lifeboat? You're being ridiculous. Before I might have thrown a fit. But not now. Every choice, every abandonment, clearly told me I wasn't loved." Lily gasped as Alex carried her away, leaving me behind. Ella, furious, wanted to hit him, but I held her back. The pain in my abdomen was excruciating, and the sounds around me faded. I closed my eyes and passed out completely. Chapter 3. When I woke up again, it was the next night. In the empty hospital room, memories of my previous life flooded back. Alex and I worked in the same company, me as his superior. I admired his capabilities and planned to promote him. Over time, we developed feelings for each other, and he confessed. We decided to get married. A month before the wedding, Lily appeared, claiming to be his childhood sweetheart, having grown up together and even had a childhood betrothal. From that day, Alex often ignored my calls and gave me the cold shoulder. I thought he just wanted freedom before marriage, so I didn't press. Later, he suggested a sea trip to ease the tension, and I agreed. When I caught them kissing in the cockpit, they insisted it was a misunderstanding, that I was mistaken. I was too naive to believe their lies. My poor baby. Hearing the door open, my thoughts returned. Ella entered with a warm water bottle. Seeing me awake, tears welled up in her eyes. "I'm sorry," the baby. Even though I had prepared myself, hearing the news still tore at my heart. I failed to protect him in both lives. I just wanted to know where Alex and Lily were. I couldn't believe they weren't together. Ella's expression changed as she whispered that they were next door. It was Lily's request. That wretched woman claimed to have severe psychological issues and claustrophobia, needing someone with her. Such a flimsy excuse. Only Alex would believe it. I just wanted a divorce. Nothing else mattered. Besides, I didn't believe the ship would sink so easily. When the accident happened, I had checked the life rings. All were damaged, clearly tampered with. I suspected Lily. Ella's eyes flashed. We planned for her to investigate. Finding key evidence could convict Lily of attempted murder. After seeing her off, I decided to rest and recover. The miscarriage left me cold and weak, my body severely impacted. I feared I might never have my own child. Unexpectedly, Lily came soon after. She looked healthy, walking steadily, showing no signs of illness. In contrast, I was pale, my lips blue. Miscarriage really changes a person. If I didn't know better, I'd think you were about to die. She taunted, cursing my child. How could she have such hatred? Weakly, I asked what she wanted. "Alex and I are engaged. You ruined it by showing up. Do you think I'll let you go?" Her small face twisted with malice, her eyes full of venom. I couldn't help but laugh weakly. "If you like him, he's yours. Why make it so complicated? Trash like him matches a garbage bin like you." Chapter 4. Unexpectedly, Lily became even more agitated upon hearing my words. "Stop pretending to be a saint. Seeing your sanctimonious face makes me sick." I tried to keep my emotions in check, wanting to retort, but the sound of a door closing came from the next room. Soon, Alex's figure appeared outside my hospital room. The door opened and Lily's tearful voice followed. "Mia, I just wanted to check on you. I didn't mean to upset you. Please don't scold me anymore." Alex's footsteps grew closer, and Lily began to run toward the window, crying out, "I know you hate me. Maybe I should just die and give Alex back to you." She didn't jump. Instead, she fell into a warm embrace. She looked up at Alex with tear-filled eyes. The manipulative act was practically palpable. Alex, eyes wide with anger, stood by my bed, gripping my wrist tightly. "What did you say to Lily this time? Haven't you done enough?" I was confused and stunned. "Humph, if you have the guts to do it, have the guts to admit it. You were jealous of Lily's family background and tampered with the boat. That's why it malfunctioned. I saw it all." I looked at him, incredulous. Before setting sail, everyone inspected the boat. I only glanced at the engine room. How could he blame everything on me? I sneered and asked if he had any evidence. "Evidence? Ever since you met Lily, you've been jealous of our relationship and hostile towards her. You've done so many things against her, and you dare ask for evidence?" Alex was self-righteous. Looking at the man I once shared a bed with, my heart turned cold. I wasn't hostile. She kissed Alex in front of me, held hands, embraced, openly provocative. Suddenly I felt exhausted. "Let's get a divorce. I'll give you your freedom." I thought he would agree. Alex's expression changed, becoming more agitated. He thought I was using the divorce to scare him, playing hard to get. Yes, I often needed reassurance during our relationship, but now I just wanted to sever ties and avoid the pain of death. "You think you can threaten me with divorce? I won't come coax you. Don't think too highly of yourself." Alex gritted his teeth, his forehead veins popping. I didn't understand why he hated me yet wouldn't let me go. Lily quickly stood beside him, wrapping her arms around his waist. "Mia, I know you're upset with me, but that was my mother's keepsake. Alex is just very protective of me. Please don't divorce because of me." Her last words were heavy. She led Alex out of the room. I closed my eyes to rest and didn't speak to them for the next 3 days. Finally feeling better, I took slow walks in the corridor to regain my strength. But I always felt watched. I heard she's the woman abandoned by her husband. Lost the baby too. So tragic. That man is still caring for the mistress in the next room. I couldn't stand it when I went to change her dressing. I was so engrossed in their chatter that I didn't notice my sister-in-law behind me. She held a gift box of supplements, helping me back to the room. "Sister-in-law, is it true? Did my brother really leave you in the sea to save Lily?" Chapter 5. I smiled bitterly and nodded. Not only that, but I also lost the baby. Before the wedding, my sister-in-law had clearly expressed her dislike for Lily, calling her hypocritical. I thought she was just being nice to me and didn't fully believe her. Seeing her now, I felt a pang of guilt. "Sister-in-law, wait here. I'll drag my brother over to apologize." She stormed off to the next room and I heard shouting. My sister-in-law dragged Alex by the hair to my room. "Are you crazy? Can't you see I'm feeding Lily porridge?" Alex, furious, turned to glare at me. "Mia, you're really something, bribing my sister to speak for you. You're so manipulative. How did I ever fall for you?" His words pierced my heart, devaluing our past feelings. I no longer felt anything for him, unmoved by his accusations. Of course, my sister-in-law didn't spare Lily either. They were like stray dogs dragged around by her. "Sister-in-law had a miscarriage. She's so weak, and you're caring for another woman." Alex clicked his tongue, shaking his head. "Nonsense. She wasn't pregnant. How could she miscarry? Don't let her fool you. She's a great actress." I couldn't hold back, staggering out of bed and slapped his face. He could insult me but not my child. I angrily threw the medical report and miscarriage papers at him. Alex's face darkened, clutching the papers, muttering, "How?" He focused solely on Lily, ignoring me. Lily clung to him, looking frail and pitiful. "I didn't know you'd miscarry. It's my fault. I'll die to atone for the baby." She pretended to jump out the window again. Alex stopped her. He clenched his teeth, his brows furrowing. "Fine. Just consider it compensation for Mia's mistakes." They acted out a drama before me. I laughed instead of getting angry, asking what I did wrong. Since meeting Lily, Alex's attitude towards me changed drastically. He became a different person. I didn't understand what I did wrong. Lily tried to stop him, looking guilty. "Fine, keep pretending. If you hadn't taken Lily to that abandoned building and had her assaulted, she wouldn't fear enclosed spaces or tremble at your sight. You trampled her dignity. His words confused me. When did I ever hurt her? Lily, voice trembling, hid behind Alex like a frightened deer. You probably don't remember. In college, I accidentally bumped into you, and you dragged me to that building. She started crying. I suddenly remembered a junior bumping into me in my second year. She didn't apologize but insulted me. So that rude girl was you. Alex thought I admitted it, immediately accusing me. I impatiently interrupted him. I just said I remember her. Did I say I took her to that building? Are you blind and deaf? The assault case was notorious. But I didn't do it. Chapter 6. I asked a junior to retrieve the campus network link and logged into my account to find the old thread. The top post had a photo of Lin Xiaoyu passed out outside a bar, being picked up by 4 men. Shen Qing couldn't believe it, enlarging the photo repeatedly. You passed out drunk outside a bar, taken by men to that building. Your parents made a scene at school, forcing them to expel all 5 of you. Lying has limits. Don't pin this on me. Lin Xiaoyu turned pale. She never expected me to have the photos. She stood there, stunned. Shen Qing, hands trembling, demanded an explanation. I forgot. Maybe Su Ran wasn't involved. Shen Qing, you have to believe me. She continued her pitiful act. But the truth was undeniable. Bang! The door burst open as Tang Yi and the police entered. Ms. Lin Xiaoyu, you're under suspicion of attempted murder. Come with us. Everyone was stunned. Tang Yi handed me her phone, filled with evidence against Lin Xiaoyu. You're making baseless accusations. The boat sank. What does it have to do with me? She was sure no one would retrieve the boat, so she acted recklessly, ignoring the cameras. But she overlooked something. After Tang Yi and I were rescued, we returned to the wreck to retrieve 2 life rings. On the vast sea, only the cockpit remained afloat. The old captain saved the surveillance footage from the cockpit. Lin Xiaoyu turned pale, reaching for the phone. Tang Yi stopped her. The footage showed me passing the life rings, heading to the cockpit to join Shen Qing. He jumped up, exclaiming, "See? I told you it was Su Ran's doing, not Xiaoyu's." I looked at him like he was an idiot. He didn't even wait for the truth before defending himself. Pathetic. The camera zoomed in on Lin Xiaoyu slashing the life rings with a razor blade. She threw the blade into the sea. Shen Qing stood speechless, staring at the screen. This was just the beginning. She went to the cockpit, embracing Shen Qing, kissing him passionately, ignoring the boat's course. Lin Xiaoyu accidentally hit the controls, changing the boat's direction. Bang! A collision followed and Shen Qing rushed to fix it while Lin Xiaoyu ran to the deck. This led to the scene I encountered upon my rebirth. You two are really inseparable, like star-crossed lovers. Lin Xiaoyu tried to flee but Shen Qing grabbed her. You lied to me. You not only bullied Su Ran but also caused the boat's accident. Why did you slash the life rings? You killed my child. He was furious, his face red with shame. They argued, separated by the police. So what if I lied? You were willing to be deceived. Why believe me? Don't blame me for the child. You didn't let her on the lifeboat. Shen Qing hesitated, then bowed his head in defeat. She was right. Even if she lied and slashed the life rings, it was Shen Qing's choice to abandon me and save her. Chapter 7. I hired a professional lawyer to handle the lawsuit against Lin Xiaoyu. As for Shen Qing, his negligence wasn't enough to charge him with a crime. I'm sorry, Su Ran. I still love you. I always have. Lin Xiaoyu, always pampered by Shen Qing, couldn't accept this. No way. You said I was better than her in every way and wanted to marry me. Lin Xiaoyu shouted at me, finally dropping her pretense. Su Ran, how could you marry him and have his child? You were just an obstacle in our love. Each word made Shen Qing avoid my gaze. She was finally taken away by the police. Her curses echoed in the hospital corridor. Shen Qing, face red, grasped my hand, begging for forgiveness. Wife, I'm sorry. She deceived me. It's all her fault. Please give me another chance. I coldly shook him off. That day I nearly died. Do you know what it felt like to lose our child? Shen Qing, crying and gasping, knelt and slapped himself. No matter what he did, I was unmoved. I would never have anything to do with him again. Lin Xiaoyu is gone. You should go too. Tang Yi and my sister-in-law teamed up to push him out. I didn't know what to say to my sister-in-law. She didn't scold or persuade me, just patted my hand comfortingly. As a woman, I support you. Even if you divorce, I'm on your side. Warmth filled my heart. I smiled gratefully. Finally, I was free of Shunqing. Considering all charges, Lin Xiaoyu was detained in order to pay me 2,000 yuan in damages. Shunqing and I divorced, splitting our assets. I felt nothing about the result. When we married, he was a poor man. I valued him, not his money. Now I saw he wasn't worth it either. As I returned to my parents' house with my luggage, Shunqing followed. He held my ultrasound report and the pregnancy test from the trash, tears streaming down his face. I was wrong. Blame me, hit me, do whatever you want. Just give me another chance. He blocked my path, demanding an explanation. Or a fresh start. I calmly asked if he would have believed Lin Xiaoyu and hated me forever without the footage. Shunqing fell silent. After a long pause, he finally spoke. Last night, I dreamed I saved you in that accident. We married and had a child. But as soon as the baby was born, I drowned it and pushed you into the pool. Shunqing clutched his head, his face contorted in pain. Your cries for help were so real. Su Ran, I wronged you twice, both in reality and in dreams. His eyes were bloodshot, filled with despair. I felt a strange satisfaction, a smile forming. Could it be real? You never chose me in the past or now. Shunqing wavered, collapsing in defeat. You drowned our baby and threw me into the pool, saying I needed to feel Xiaoyu's pain. Thanks to you I did. The sea is cold and so is your heart. Shunqing was stunned, my words mirroring his dream, blurring reality. Chapter 8. I didn't explain further, closing the door behind me. The past was over. Life moves forward. Back home, I reported the boat incident to Shunqing's employer. During his probation, a little effort ensured he couldn't join the civil service. Tang Yi and I testified. The police investigation confirmed the incident, canceling Shunqing's exam results, barring him from formal employment. He owed me that much. My sister-in-law informed me Shunqing was depressed, drinking and smoking daily, unable to distinguish reality from dreams, asking if I could help him. A troubled mind needs its own cure. I couldn't help, so let him suffer. After recovering, I decided to start a flower shop with Tang Yi. I used to worry about losses and the market, but surviving death made me value time, pursuing my dreams. With a second chance, I wanted no regrets. As a friend, she supported me wholeheartedly. The business grew and our workdays extended. As we prepared to close, a final customer arrived. A skinny woman with dark circles exuding malice. It was Lin Xiaoyu, released from jail. Su Ran. You open a flower shop while I rot in jail. Tang Yi went to get food, leaving me alone. I eyed the pruning shears, planning my escape. You brought this on yourself. Why blame me? Lin Xiaoyu's eyes narrowed, suddenly laughing. I hated you since college. Didn't think you'd still be so disgusting. I recalled her grudge against me. What had I done to her? At the school festival, you took my spot. If not for you, I'd have been center stage. The school hunk would have confessed to me, not you. Who do you think you are, disgusting me repeatedly? I gaped. So that was it. She lost the spot for poor performance, and the dance teacher gave it to me. Who knew she'd hold a grudge for so long? I swallowed nervously. She had a knife. I retreated with the shears. I've been to jail. Nothing to fear. Taking you down is worth it. Not good. Lin Xiaoyu charged with the knife, aiming for my arm. Chapter 9. Her face twisted in rage, drawing closer. My heart pounded, cold sweat beating. Suddenly, a figure leaped from behind, tackling her. Shunqing wrestled the knife barehanded, oblivious to his bleeding hands. He used all his strength to pin Lin Xiaoyu, immobilizing her. They fought fiercely, neither yielding. Tang Yi returned, calling the police and kicking the knife away. What are you doing here? I haven't settled accounts, and you come to me. Lin Xiaoyu cursed, headbutting Shunqing in fury. You blamed me for everything, hiding. You're despicable. Former lovers turned enemies, they cursed each other. But Shunqing never let go. The police sirens grew louder. Lin Xiaoyu's eyes glinted coldly. She reached behind her waist, smirking maliciously. Don't blame me. A blade flashed, stabbing Shunqing's chest, blood soaking their clothes. Shunqing collapsed, trembling, blood gushing from his mouth. You had another knife. Shunqing, tearful, gritted his teeth, pulled out the blade, and slit Lin Xiaoyu's throat. Shunqing, you so cruel. She clutched her throat, blood spurting. Tang Yi and I were paralyzed with fear. Her eyes rolled, staring at me, mumbling incoherently. Shunqing smiled faintly, collapsing against the wall. I rushed to hold him. He was hurt, saving me. I couldn't ignore him. The police arrived, medics on the way. If he held on, he might survive. But Shunqing shook his head, dazedly looking at me. Finally, I saved you. He struggled to breathe, blood gurgling, using his last strength. I'm sorry, Suran. If I had another chance, I wouldn't choose her again. Shunqing's eyes were filled with deep emotion, a faint smile on his lips as he closed his eyes. He stopped breathing. He died in my arms. Lin Xiaoyu died even faster, losing all signs of life in seconds. The police took away 2 bodies covered in white sheets. The flower shop reeked of blood. Tang Yi and I exchanged looks, nauseous, abandoning our meal. My sister-in-law contacted family upon hearing the news. I was taken to the police station for questioning. Surveillance clearly showed their fight. I was uninvolved. A few days later, Shunqing was buried. My sister-in-law gave me a phone containing his will. I learned Shunqing had planned to die. He'd been wandering near my flower shop, watching me from afar. Suran, I know I hurt you. I'm changing. Every day, I'll atone and apologize. If there's a next life, I'll make it up to you. The phone crackled, then recorded his rush and my screams. I pondered for a long time, then went to the funeral home, placing the phone by his photo. One life is enough. No next life. I don't need your compensation. Let's never meet again. I walked out, exhaling deeply. Forget the next life compensation. I'll live well now, praying to all gods on the path of reincarnation. Never to meet these 2 again. They're locked in fate. I'll live happily alone.